Hey YouTube, hope everyone's having a great weekend. Just a quick video here, kind of detailing my progress in April so far. Stocks have continued to keep going up. A lot of good news, especially with earnings week kind of wrapping up. But we still got some big names to report next week with like Apple and Alphabet, obviously. So there are still a lot of big companies reporting, but pretty good earnings week so far. And I think one of the main reasons is because a lot of companies in Q3 and Q4 of last year basically, made their guidance levels a little lower than they would have. So a lot of those companies now beat those goals. With all the stocks over the last couple months not doing so well, with all the news from the Fed and global, growth concerns and the trade war. So good to see that some progress is being made over the past couple months. So kind of seeing my performance here over the last month. My last video I was kind of teetering around that $10,000 mark. So shot past that this whole month. Really good performance, outperforming the market as well. So 6.68, kind of going onto the market over the last month. So beating it over 2 percentage points there. Kind of looking at the NASDAQ Composite here, kind of along the lines of that one as well. So a lot of big news in my portfolio as well. Kind of going to go through it. Just kind of spitballing some news that I know, and let me know what you guys think overall at the end. So kind of going to my options right now. So keeping hold of two right now, both cannabis companies. Canopy Growth has done really well over the last couple weeks, couple of upgrades, as well as the big news is that they have agreed to acquire Acreage, which is a big U.S. marijuana company. So basically the principles of the deal are that they can't purchase it right away because they risk being delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. So basically it's like a deal that they will buy them eventually. So big news with Acreage is they have some pretty significant big players on their board, one of them being John Boehner, who was the former U.S. House of Representatives Speaker. So a couple big names, the former Canadian Prime Minister, as well as Bill Weld. He's a libertarian before. He was actually the vice presidential nominee for Gary Johnson back in 2016, but I guess he's running for president now on the Republican side, so that's a little interesting fact there. So big, three big, players there that Acreage has. So hopefully they could, help lobby the House and Senate, and potentially a bill might be possible, within the next 2 years. So see what happens there. But Canopy obviously had some good news this week. Up over 8%, up over 17 the last month, and it's been continuing its drive forward. So I have big hopes for Canopy. I did mention before I do own shares of them in my Roth, but quick option call here. So still down overall, but still got a couple months to ride it out and see how it goes. So CGC there for you. Moving on to Aurora. So also a long call, just kind of chilling at that 15% level right now. Should hopefully see some big action within the coming months. So Nelson Peltz is on there. They're paying him as an advisor. So hopefully Aurora can swing some sort of deal with a big consumer package giant like a Coca-Cola or a Procter & Gamble. Who knows? One of those big companies would definitely be good news for a company like Aurora, who is kind of like the number 2 now in Canada, with Canopy being the first one. So Aurora doing really well, hopefully over the long term there. I did want to mention I did have Axon before, but I did sell it for a nice profit. We'll look it up right now. So as you guys remember, I did buy a call for this $95 back in March. Sold it for a nice gain. I believe it was around 130% gain. So sold it for $260. So I wanted that capital kind of leading into my next stock here. I did contribute some of that to buying 5 more shares of the QQQ index here. So average cost of just under 170 now, so pretty happy with that. A little over 26% of my portfolio, and obviously going to be a staple in my portfolio going forward. Ideally, I'd like it to take up no more than 35 to 40%, so maybe another 5 shares or so might be the limit. But obviously still want to spread my wealth around, not just tech but a couple other individual company stocks. So pretty comfortable right now diversity wise with this index, but I was pretty happy to kind of get in it, especially with good earnings coming out. I would think there was going to be a lot of good news, especially within the tech industry. So you can kind of see, had a pretty good month. Last 3 months have been really good as well. So obviously beating the S&P500 index. So that's why I'm pretty confident in this index. Technology is not going anywhere anytime soon. So a lot of big companies that I want to stay invested in overall. So moving on to MJ ETF. Doing really well. Not much action since last month. Down actually 2%, but hopefully a lot of good news comes for a lot of these cannabis companies. One minor note, I did realize that there is a new US ETF coming out. So there are actually two. One is a USMJ and another one is HMUS. So those are a couple options for you guys that are looking at US plays. Fortunately, I don't think Robinhood has them right now. So hopefully they'll have them in the future. So moving on, Costco. Costco has just been really good since end of December. It's a great company. Obviously their retention rate is huge and they're doing really good things. So kind of see, they were down to just under 190 at one point last December, and now they've kind of come roaring back. So a little over 11% right now, and I'm pretty comfortable sticking with it going forward. Planet Fitness has just been on a tear the last month, 13%. Let's see, they just, they're reporting earnings next week, so that'll be interesting next Thursday, I believe. But, they've just been, outperforming all my other stocks and definitely the indices. So Planet Fitness there, a little over 7% of my portfolio. Going to stick with that. Don't plan on buying any more currently as I don't have any capital. Plus, do expect a little bit of a, return to normal, a little bit of a dip before I start accumulating more of this company. But I'm pretty comfortable at my level right now. So great company there. So moving on to Berkshire Hathaway, also had a pretty good month. It's kind of been, teetering around that $200 level. So it's nice to see that it's kind of bounced back within the last month. So $214, a little over 10%. Pretty comfortable. Obviously one of the big stakes that Warren Buffett's company has is in Apple. So moving on to them, they've also had a really good 3 months, 31%. Obviously, they came out with their new news subscription, and obviously challenger within the streaming universe to Netflix and Disney. Obviously, Disney was big news because they announced their Disney Plus subscription. I believe it's $6.99 a month. Coming out this fall. So, speaking of Disney, for those that have followed that stock and company over the last couple of weeks, definitely have gotten rewarded. They're up, almost over $140. They've kind of teetered around the $115, 105, 115 range over the last 4 years. So nice to see them finally pop. But, Apple is, obviously making a big entrance to streaming and services as well. So, they've done really well for me as well, just under 20% right now. And, earnings coming up Monday or Tuesday, I believe, April 30th. So, them and Google should definitely come out with some good news, especially following the path of every other company. They've done really well so far in terms of earnings. So hopefully Apple's the next to step up and it can, smash through those all-time highs it set back in early October. So we'll see what happens with them. Moving on to Take-Two, still at 5 shares right now, just under 5%. I was waiting for them to kind of keep going down towards that, $80 range, but hopefully it, resumes some more traction now going forward and goes up. But I'm fine with 5 shares right now. But the gaming industry, a lot of struggles right now. No huge releases coming out in the near future, but definitely some potential between Take-Two and Activision and EA, but a lot of bad press lately, so might drag down these companies for a little while. So comfortable with holding what I have for now, and we'll see going forward. Finally, Zoetis, big fan of this stock with pet pharma, also doing really well over the last 3 months, 23% last year. Definitely outperformed the market. Huge industry. I believe it's $22 billion. Pet pharma is doing really well. People are treating pets like members of their family. So this is kind of an industry you want to be in. So nice long-term chart there for you. So doing really well. Keeping investing. Sticking with the same strategy for May and June. Taking the long game. So pretty happy with my performance. Once again, I'll show the year chart here. Vastly outperforming the market, but trying to get back where I was. So I think I'm making good progress so far. Trying to buy stocks that are either undervalued or experiencing a little turmoil, and that strategy so far has done pretty well for me. Continue to buy smartly and invest in what you know. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have any comments or suggestions or specific industries that you're looking at right now and buying. So let me know your strategy. So thank you guys for watching, and look forward to bringing you guys more videos soon. Thanks. Have a good weekend. Bye.